everybody. Welcome to She the Mighty, where we train, finance, and mentor female entrepreneurs. I'm Michelle Smith.
And I'm Kylie Martin.
And this is What Do You Want to Talk About?
And today I'm so excited about what I want to talk about with you, Michelle. What I want to talk about today is how, as an entrepreneur, do you perform at your highest level? And that's saying so many things when we talk about high level. It's how are you with confidence going about your work and your relationships and your abilities and your confidence so that you know you've put in 150%. And I've known you a long time. I've worked with you. I've watched you work. I know who you are. And it's kind of easy sometimes for me to go, oh, that's just Michelle. That's just who she is. But actually, I know the truth of the matter is it's curated, it's thought out, it's designed, and it's actually really the credence by which you work at. And I think it's to be commended. And I want to talk about that today. So I want to know for our listeners that are working as an entrepreneur, and that could mean a whole abundance of different things, but where would one start to thinking along the lines of high performance, and what does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And so, again, I love this topic. And this topic is something that we could have 40 episodes about because there are so many ingredients in it. And to get down to kind of like the brass tacks of it, I think that there's a massive awakening for anybody when they recognize or realize that maybe I need to put in more effort to be able to deliver different results. And I think that that's a byproduct of growing up as a human, right? I think humans are unbelievably capable people. We are pretty amazing, right? I think I am a totally average human and I absolutely love that. But that's another podcast episode to unpack what that means.
What does an
The
average human mean?
like I totally do, because I think that we're incredible, right? I think that people are amazing. They are fascinating. They're capable. They are so creative and talented, and like, what a magical experience to be able to be gifted to have. So that said, I think that for a lot of us growing up, in most cases, if we just took a big generalization, that we were able to get by without really trying hard at a lot of things. So we could get the marks in school that we wanted to get without a huge amount of effort. We were challenged by certain courses, and certainly this isn't the sweeping truth, but that in a large part, I think that a lot of us would agree that we could get decent results by putting in a little effort. And so as we start to then navigate into some of the bigger things that we would like, or into the lion fight world of entrepreneurship, and discover that it isn't just as easy in today's world as opening up an Instagram channel, taking a whole bunch of really cute selfies and creating a landing page, that all of a sudden there will be an unending parade of people that are knocking down our door to purchase our stuff, that we have to actually start to work. So I think that the first real big step forward is even just the recognition that that needs to happen, that putting in 80% isn't going to get me there. And we start to pay attention when we put in more than 80%. It's almost as though we're a little pissed off. Like we're like I have to actually try. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm also, you're also inspiring something in me, which is that, and this will land with you and with so many people. Like when you put in all that work and you get the payback,
Yes.
the feeling that creates
Yes.
to your point, the capability aspect within ourselves where we go, I did that, I accomplished
Yes.
that, oh my
Yes.
gosh, because I am proud of myself, I did the work.
Yes. Yes. And so I love you raising that point, because it has cascading impact in so many things, wherein building the self-concept that says to you that it's possible, that I can, right? I'm reflecting off of, okay, shameless plug for the Blue Jays that won last night and are going into the World Series. Vlad was saying that he visualizes success. And it's no secret to people who study success that visualization is so powerful. It was so impactful to me that the man who is earning almost a $500 million a year uses the exact same things in order to succeed as some of the most brand new entrepreneurs that are working through how to get themselves to a higher level of self-concept and see themselves as the person that could actually achieve those
Yes.
results. Right. So
Yes.
these things don't change when you achieve massive success. You change these things in order to achieve massive success.
Absolutely. And that leads me into the next question. So it's a great example of what one can start to do
Mhm.
to again, the awareness piece is so key, and I love that you said that, just to be able to say, maybe by some miracle someone could do very little work and get somewhere, but we won't talk about that today. But you have to do the work, and that's the key point. And being aware that you have to do the work is the first step. But what are some things that you can sort of share that you do or that you've seen other women do, where they can start to raise that platform for themselves a little? And on the second point, what do you need to stop doing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so there's a parade of things, and to get to the most pointed difference makers, I'm going to say to give yourself permission to fully engage and play and pay attention. So, part of permission is giving yourself permission to not only succeed, but also to fail. And that allows you to get up to bat, right? If every single one of the players is only going to get up and take a massive swing with a guarantee that they're going to hit a home run, then we wouldn't have this beautiful game called baseball. And I mean, all of the statistics about the number of strikeouts and the number of misses based upon the number of grand slams. So give yourself permission to play and pay attention. Pay attention to the results that you're getting. And you do this for a few reasons. One of the things that you need to do is not be the judge, but to be the observer of what kind of results are you getting. Because just like when you are looking to navigate from one physical destination to another and you need to input into your app, where are you coming from, in order to route the destination's route for how to get where you want to go. In order to level up an initiative, this isn't something that you muscle through. This isn't something that you do blindly. It's something that you do with intention. So uncovering the truth of where your performance is at for this particular thing that you're looking to build skill at will give you a beginning point. And that beginning point is something that's super necessary. Then we used to have this mantra, and it was personal best or bust. And so this comes from my days as a sales dog, and that every single day as a sales rep, it is the most ingratiating experience where you are going out into the whole world of negatives and no's, and you are fighting to find that elusive yes. And it doesn't matter what you did the day before. You have a clean slate that starts every single day, and that's just the way that realm exists. Some of the incredible professors that you get to experience are the way that your performance responds in the face of negativity. So I would advocate to everybody to go get a sales job to learn how to do all of these things in hyperspeed, because the more negatives that you take, the more negative experiences, the better your capability to learn how to accept them, not take it personally, identify where your challenges were, learn to rebound, really exercise that attitude muscle. All of those things are going to serve you in life. So you either run away from those things or you run towards them. The number of experiences that you're going to have to go through in order to develop the muscle is no different than the number of reps you got to do on leg day at the gym.
Right, which
So,
also speaks so much to, it's okay to fall down or stumble or trip a little bit. Like, it's all okay. Like, how many times have we talked about even the word failure? Like, it should not exist. Like, all of these things you're talking about are necessary for learning, for growth, and for being able to say, okay, like,
yes.
I'm resilient,
Yes.
right?
And I think in our last episode, I referenced Ching Chu, who talked about learn how to fall first. Because once you're no longer scared of falling, then you simply allow yourself full permission to engage, right? Which is really what is required if you want to level up. So, some of the things I would stop doing immediately, and I believe that this is one of the toughest, is to stop justifying. Stop
We see that a
justifying.
lot, don't we? We see
Yes.
that a lot. Yes. That's a
Stop
really good point.
justifying down why you're going to give yourself permission to opt out from trying that hard today. Stop negotiating with yourself that it's okay that you don't try harder today. Stop the negative talk that you might have going on in your inner dialogue about why this isn't going to work or you can't do this, right? Eliminate the word can't from your vocabulary completely. That's one challenge that I would give to every single person who's listening. Challenge you exclusively to do this for one day. The big challenge, do it for 30 days. But no longer give yourself permission to use the word I can't. Instead, replace it with one of two different words. Instead, say, I don't know how to, or I don't want to. Both of those are
Powerful.
empowering
That's right.
statements. Right.
Yep.
Having can't is a way of giving up your power.
Yes, it's the same as try. There's no try, there's do, or there's don't.
That's right. Exactly, Yoda. That is
Yeah,
right. A
that's
million
right.
percent.
It's I love that. I love those reminders because I think for people, and we talked about this last time too, of the hamster wheel of thought, right? The hamster wheel of trying to think your way out of a problem, trying to think your way out of something, where there's all those tips and hacks of what can you do to cut that wheel, to stop the negative thoughts. Is a tough one probably for a lot of women to be like, I'm not sure, like the whole self, it's not self-loathing, but it's the inside feeling of like, who am I to be doing this? Like, how, I don't know that I stand up here. Who am I to believe that I could possibly do this? I think that exists for a lot of women.
Think it exists for all women. I think it exists for all women at varying moments in our lives.
Yes,
It's something that none of us are immune to,
that's
regardless of
right.
how much we study and practice it. But to your point at the beginning of the episode, I have read self help books since the time I was 16 years old. I am an avid practitioner of ensuring that I am programming myself with the right music, with the right content that I consume, with the right books that I read, with the right messaging that I send myself.
It's all conscious. Everything
It
is
is
conscious.
absolutely,
Yeah, we
absolutely. And
are what we consume, right?
we are what we consume, and because the ever presence of the second that doubt creeps in, right? Like anybody who hasn't seen it yet, go watch the story video, The Devil's Yard Sale. It's an incredibly powerful story somebody told to me, but it's so powerful that I feel that it has such this resounding message, to your point, that the mental fitness that comes with how to work on having influence over the negative thoughts that attempt to creep in, right? You know that I picture all of these little personalities of me, like a little dancing circle of emoticons, right? And like the negative guy, the doubtful guy that is trying to take control.
Yes,
You need to have practices in place in order to prevent that from happening.
yes,
So stop recruiting negative evidence, right? If you're working on leveling up your performance, and let's say that you're working on leveling up for the sake of the exercise, you're looking on increasing your fitness, your physical fitness. And it's no difference than you want to increase your sales results for your business. So you need to do 30 minutes of cardio a day and strength training. If while you're sitting down and you're on your fifth rep of weights, you start thinking, oh, I'm never going to do this. Oh, this is too hard. Oh, this is too difficult. You're recruiting negative thoughts to build the belief that this isn't going to be possible.
that's
So
right.
that's one of the things to stop doing. How do you stop? The second that you hear that, stop. Put the weight down, rest for a moment, allow your strength to be recollected, and go and pick that weight up again and go until you can't. Do another rep and put it down. And then I just said can't. People are going to be in the comments like,
Because
go
you're
and
human.
that's right.
Spoiler alert,
There you go.
everybody.
There you go. There you go.
It's true though. Like we have to be. It's all mindful. It's mindfulness techniques.
It's mindfulness. So then on your question of what do you start doing? Start giving yourself credit for not listening to that negative voice, putting the weight down, giving yourself a moment to breathe, not sitting in judgment, just being the observer, noticing that I only was able to do 6 reps until I got too tired. That's my starting point. Okay, Google Maps, where am I going to get to? Then going down, reaching the weight again, saying, oh, like I am proud of me, sitting
Yes.
back up, and then seeing if you can beat 6. Personal best or bust. And if you do, or if you don't, congratulate yourself on the effort. So start recruiting thoughts that say, you go, girl.
Yeah, I
You
love that.
got
I love
this.
that. It's so powerful.
You
It's
can
so
do this.
powerful. Yep.
And when you recruit evidence that way, that starts to give you what you mentioned, the belief that, oh my gosh, I did that. I'm proud of
And it's
myself for
it
doing
becomes
that.
it becomes a cellular, it becomes something that we take on cellularly. It
Yes.
becomes part of our makeup when we can get to that point. So I love all of what you just said. I think it's so powerful because, and we will do another podcast on that. But like, there's been so many studies that show exactly what this kind of mental fitness actually will do, right down to water molecules. That lovely book that we have on. There's so much evidence, right? How
Messages
can
from
you
water.
argue it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, a million percent. And so then the next thing to start doing is to make it a daily practice. Right? It's not a habit. I have a challenge when it comes to habits and making it a practice. You don't have to practice every day. So if you miss, you're not going to persecute yourself. But you make it a daily practice to personal best or bust, that you are going to take another run at moving the needle a little bit. And when you have the discipline to do that, you start to build a personal contract with yourself. And it's a matter of personal integrity.
Mhm.
Right. So, an example that I have is that when I wanted to work on my fitness, and this was in a time in my life when I was working, I don't know, 15 to 16 hours a day, every single day, 6 days a week. And I was making no time, and I was smoking, and I was drinking coffee, like 8 coffees a day. Like it was just nuts. And one of the incredible girls that worked in our office, she opened up my eyes to hot yoga. And I went to a class that was a certain discipline and went in, and I thought I was going to die, literally thought I was going to die. And I couldn't wait to get out of there and out to the parking lot so I could have a cigarette. Like it was terrible.
And there's the 80s, people.
Terrible. Okay. So now fast forward another 5 or 6 years, and I actually really loved what hot yoga would be able to do for me if I could learn how to make it a practice in my life. Well, I would go and I would have such a challenging experience because it does. It challenges you, and it challenged me. Like I'd be in panic mode halfway through the class. Everybody looks so calm, laying on their mats. My heart is going to beat out of my chest and explode. And I would visualize there'd be a fire extinguisher on the post, and I would visualize like cracking and jumping up and grabbing the fire extinguisher and fire extinguishing everybody in the class and then running out of the class like a madman. Like this is the heightened level of
Very zen of you, Michelle.
I know. Oh yeah, all of these other people are having this mindful
They're all
meditation.
doing breath work
Yeah,
and you're hosing everyone.
I'm having this inner turmoil. But what I knew was that I knew that I needed hot yoga, right? Like I needed to insert and
Yes.
learn
Yeah.
this discipline. And so my challenge to myself, my personal contract was make it to class every day. So the studio that I fell in love with, they had a 30-day challenge, many of them do. And I had personally considered when I heard that like months prior, like these people are crazy. Like who would do that? Who would subject themselves to that? But so I made a contract with myself that I am just going to show up every day. So the contract of my personal best was getting up, and I chose the morning class. So I was getting up by 5:30 a.m. and on the road, getting to the studio, getting my mat down and laying on my mat, and that was it. My goal was accomplished.
Mm.
If I chose to get up, if I chose to work, if I chose to participate, that was an added bonus. By making that my contract, that became something that was more easy to achieve and more easy to congratulate myself on, which allowed me to build more self esteem, more self concept that this was possible. It allowed me to nurture and be very forgiving of any challenges that I had in class if I fell off a pose or wasn't able to do it as well as all of these people around me. And that changed my practice.
So for you, it's choosing something that is actually going to be attainable as that starting point. Like, don't choose something so big that after 3 days you're like, see, I couldn't do it. Like, this was something you could commit to at the time that you could go and do. And that's how it started to build from there.
You got it. That's
Yeah.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
I love that. This next question is a bit inspired by so many of the women that we've met on the platform, She the Mighty, and that we've spoken to. And that is like, for the woman who has a house full of kids and her own business and a husband and another family and maybe an aging parent and they have maybe 15 extra pounds they want to lose. So there becomes this long list of things that they are managing, that they have to do, that they are trying to get better at. And I'm thinking of those women when I ask this question, because I think it is a reality. And I do think that there are women who are struggling and maybe a little bit overwhelmed by all sorts of various things while they're trying to run their businesses. So it's not a small feat. What would you tell these women when they are not staying on track, when they're getting off track and they're struggling? Well, when they're really struggling, what, from your like massive chest of wisdom and all of the experiences you've had running a multifaceted sales company, managing a lot of people, what would you maybe like to just share with us on that point?
Anytime that you get up to take a swing and you receive a negative result, that can have a impact on your confidence level, right? We don't like to be rejected. We don't like to not succeed. We like to do the things that we're good at. We don't like to do the things that we are challenged by and we find failure experiences in. And so I would give yourself permission to find evidence in one area of your life that you know you excel at.
Yeah.
That for you to take a moment and kind of, if you feel yourself in that cyclone of, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. Oh my God, there's just too much. Oh my God, I can't do all of these things. And you feel like you're doing nothing really well and everything badly, then my advice would be to put your foot on the clutch in your life. And so I drive manual. And to me, this is the example of you've been up leveling a gear, you take on children and your husband and your family. You up level a gear, you take on running your own business. You up level a gear, you take on managing any illness or parents. You up level a gear with any of the additional responsibilities, taking on everybody's nutrition, being the housekeeper, doing laundry, making sure nobody is going to school naked, making sure all of these things happen. And then, oh, wait a second, am I going to be able to get out of my cozy pants ever again? And what does the future look like? Like, you've up leveled so many gears of responsibility and everything starts to spin that
Hmm.
you need to put on the clutch so that way you're no longer attached to the spinning of what's happening. And take a look at one thing that you do well. And there's something called the halo effect. And it means that how you do one thing is how you do most things.
Mm.
So to give yourself the opportunity to have a perspective shift in that it's not the you that is failing, it's the number of things that you've set this unrealistic expectation on yourself to excel at. And instead, take a look at one area where you do excel and then simply pick one thing, two things maybe, that you're going to take a concerted approach to start doing the things where you're going to make it a daily practice to always ensure that you have time to make yourself the nutritional breakfast that you need to get through the day. Or you're going to make sure that you give yourself the 45 minutes off so that you can go for a walk and take a break in the afternoon, get your head clear, and come back and reapproach your things. And then you also, and the same time that you're prioritizing these two things, you're giving yourself permission to not necessarily be excellent at the others and even possibly delegate to other people to take on more than they have before so that you can be the leader in your family and have everybody up level a level of performance with you so that you can, like the goose at the front, create lift not only for the people that are taking on some of that, but as the entire unit will be able to get farther, take on more, and do more. And for most women, I believe that that's one of their challenges is that they take it on, and it's not from a martyring perspective, but it's from a everybody's always expected me to do it, and I want to be the one that does it all, and I expect myself to. And to simply accept that in today's world, like 50 years ago, the average woman did not deal with 90% of what we deal with today. There
Right.
wasn't email, there wasn't a barrage of messages, there wasn't all of this failing to get back to all of these people texting, all of these social engagements, and the whirlwind of self-defeating beliefs and thoughts that go through your head as you whip yourself, particularly if you do feel that you also are a little overweight, because of the shame that comes in the way that you consider how you answer yes to any type of request that comes. And now you can be beating yourself down more than anything else with every single second that you have off, and judging every morsel that you put in your mouth, and everything starts to prove all of this negativity. So again, I would put in the clutch.
And I think what I'm hearing a lot in everything you've said, which is so valuable, is, we as women have to take responsibility as well. Because if we're someone who is people pleasing all the time and trying to go to perfection all the time, that is on us, and we need to take a look at that. We need to take a look at why we are behaving that way, because this is the perfect opportunity to practice no, and not I can't do that, but I won't do that. To be able to say I won't do that, and here are my reasons. And those are very valid. We can't necessarily hold everything on our platter without spilling it all over someone's lap. And it's okay to say, I won't do that thing. And again, not I can't do that, because that's so passive. And I love that you raised that, because to reframe the language we use into, no, I'm not going to do that, is very powerful. We can say no. We can say
Yes.
no and not disappoint people. Or if we do, okay, fine. But to know precisely what it is that we are willing to do and we are not willing to do to protect ourselves and our energy for where our energy should go, which often as entrepreneurs is in our businesses. And we need to have the right energy to tackle some of those things that we face.
Yeah, a
So I
million
love
percent.
everything you said.
Yeah.
Any last final thoughts before we cap off
Yeah, this conversation is something that we could have 40 more discussions about, and
from
there are
every
so
angle?
many. Exactly.
Yeah,
And the beautiful thing is that there are levers that we have access to in all of those angles. Last night we were gifted to have a call again with Kim on her universal wisdom call, and one of the things that she talked about was how we don't spend enough time in the being, where we give ourselves time to sit and not be doing
right.
anything. And what a powerful visceral shift. She did an exercise with us, and what a powerful visceral shift that you can feel molecularly in your body. And so when we're talking about not recruiting negative thinking, and instead looking at the things that you have done well at and building on that, and simply giving yourself the opportunity to personal best, take a next step, give yourself grace, just make it to the class. If you lay down there and don't make
Don't
one
move.
freaking move, but that's progress.
Oh,
That's,
except to grab the extinguisher and hose everyone. You can do that. That's fully okay.
well, don't say that, because people are going to do it and they're going to be like, we learned that on this
We heard
podcast.
it. We heard it on
No,
What Do You Want to Talk
don't do
About?
that.
And it was so much fun to do. Oh,
That was
yeah,
in
true.
my imagination playground, and it's allowed to live there, but not out in
Don't
execution.
actually do it.
That's right. But I think the message is to give yourself grace, but to realize that getting yourself to the next high level of performance doesn't mean going from 0 to a million overnight or in 2 days. And that's the way that you can hurt yourself physically when you attempt to overlift weights, and also when you attempt to overlift all the responsibilities and things you have in your world. So those are the things that I come back to as the basics. Vlad, I believe, would agree with them and uses, I would bet the bank, similar practices. Vlad, if you're watching this, please feel free to comment below and chime in. And those are the things that I would start off at the beginning. And I feel that they're a really powerful place to start. And then give yourself credit for even watching and learning and having the desire to do so. And give yourself credit for every single step. Stop justifying, stop letting yourself down, hold yourself accountable, give yourself an integrity contract. And it is amazing what you can do when you take the personal best approach day after day after day after day after day after day after day. And the different way you look at yourself, and the different way you look at yourself means a different way you carry yourself, means a different cascading amplification of the results that you're creating everywhere in your life. So this is a really simple first step forward.
I love it all. Thank you so much. What a great conversation. So, what do you guys want to talk about next time? Well, you're going to have to tune in and subscribe and like to find out. So, we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.